is a man's world.
What is going on, good people? And thank you, and welcome back to another episode of the Man of Real Talk podcast, a podcast for the people. I am your host, Mr. Mike Wiley, saying greetings and salutations to all of you, our faithful followers and listeners. Look, man, y'all already know I appreciate every like, every share, every click, every download, or whatever it is that you do to support this podcast. You know, I don't never take it for granted. Never take advantage of it. I appreciate y'all because I know that y'all could be using this time to do anything else, but you be hanging out with your boys, and I don't take that for granted. I really appreciate y'all. It's another Friday, and we are glad to be here. I'm glad the Lord has brought us through yet another week, and I'm excited for today, you guys. I'm excited because today we listen. I got a guest for y'all today. I ain't even saying it just to say it. And I know y'all be like, you say that every time. No. I ain't saying it just to say it. We got a real good guest for you on today, man. And today's conversation, and I'm just going to jump right into it. I ain't going to prolong it because this right here, fellas, is for us. This is why this is called Man Up Real Talk, because I want to try to bring conversations that's going to touch the soul. That's going to make you, what they used to say, them things that make you go, I ain't think about that. All them things that gonna make you say, man, I thought about it, but you know, those type of conversations, the conversations that make you question your life goals. That's right. Question your job, who you married. Well, maybe not that, but you understand what I'm saying. Make you question things and not just accept things the way that they are. Tonight's episode, it's one that's really near and dear to me, especially as a father. And what we're going to do, we are going to dive into something that I think that every man, especially every Black Christian man, needs to hear. And we're going to talk about fatherhood and fatherhood and family expectations that come along with it. Because the pressure is real, guys. But can we keep it a buck? It's called Real Talk for a reason. The pressure sometimes can be real. And the role that we play is vital. And I'm going to be honest with you, that the calling is not for the faint at heart. It's not. But here's the good news. We don't have to walk this thing alone. We don't. And so tonight, I am honored. This is part of our Talking with Pastor series, and I am honored to sit down with who I believe to be a true man of God. He's a pastor, he's a father, he's a brother in faith, and he is the founder and the pastor of the Oasis Church here in Chicago, Illinois. I want to present to some and introduce to others my friend, my brother from another mother, Pastor Robert Sams II. How are you today, sir?
Listen, I am wonderful, man. You are my brother. I'm excited to be on. When I got the invitation, I said, I got to do it because I know this platform is true. It's real. It's honest. It's transparent. And this platform is needed. So I definitely want to be part of something that's needed in the time that we're in right now. So I appreciate this moment, man.
Man, look, I appreciate you. Like I said, sometimes getting y'all pastors is hard.
Look, my schedule not that bad.
Getting y'all to sit down is hard, brother. I'll be like, listen, man, I want to talk to you and pick your brain. And they're like, I got you, brother. I got you. But no, I understand y'all busy, and I appreciate the fact that that you spending this time with me, man. I really do. Listen, what I chose you for this conversation mainly because I know you and I are alike in a sense, whereas we tend to be brutally honest. And I wanted to have this conversation because this is one of those topics where you got to be honest about it.
You have
right?
to.
You got to be honest about these type of conversations, and it's going to be unfiltered. And we're going to talk about what it means to be a father, what it means to live up to those expectations that the Bible has set, right? And even when, because sometimes, guys, let's be honest, we get in this role and we sometimes feel unequipped. We sometimes feel that we don't have what it takes to live up to this calling that's been put upon us. But listen, I think if we may peel back some layers, we ain't gonna be able to peel them all back. But I think we'll be able to tackle some of them tonight, and hopefully you'll be able to get something out of this conversation. What I do want to encourage you to do, for those that are watching us live, like, tag, and share this video. Tag some of your brothers, tag some of your guys who you think may need this conversation, because I believe that this is going to be excellent, and I believe that the Lord has something great planned for this conversation. So look, Pastor, I just want to jump right in.
Come on, let's jump.
When we talk about fatherhood, especially in the African American Christian home, what are some of the unique pressures that you believe men face when they are expected to be the spiritual leaders in their home?
Well, I think one main pressure that we face, African American men in general, but specifically African American men, is I believe that we face the pressure of having to break cycles. I believe that we face the pressure of trying to be something that we probably didn't see modeled in our life. So we didn't have a reference. We didn't have a prototype. We didn't have someone that can kind of model us through this. So we have to kind of find that on our own. That's number one. And I think they can go across the board with men as a whole, including African American men. We really didn't have the model of being a husband, a model of being a father. And in anything that we do, you always have someone that you shadow, right? At any job you go to, at anything you're doing, especially if you're new to it. I know when I became a father, listen, a father first, a husband, and it all happened in the same year. And I didn't know who I was at the age of 20, just a couple of years ago.
I'm sorry, that laugh was a little too loud.
That's not that funny, Mike. And then facing the fact that, especially depending on what age you are, not knowing who you are. I didn't know who I was at 20. Let alone now becoming a father, now becoming a husband, shortly after that becoming a minister, shortly after that becoming a pastor. So I stepped in many roles kind of all in the same era, the same time, and I still didn't know who I was as a man. I still didn't know who I was as an African-American man. Now, I will say this, and I said this on your show before. I've never really experienced racism, as a black man. People make fun and say, "Well, you don't." It
was right there. I promise you it was.
I knew it was coming. But like from the police and from different, so I've never experienced it. Watch this, but my sons have. My sons are darker than I am. They've experienced racism and things of that sort. So that particular pressure wasn't on me per se. Any job I've ever had, no matter what the persuasion of my supervisors, managers were, my team, I was always loved, and all the rest of that. I've always done great. But with those pressures, I think that we want to break cycles. We don't want to repeat what our fathers did or the lack thereof. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
sir.
Then what I'm finding out is we're moving in a certain way from a place and space of dysfunction, because we're trying to prove that I'm not going to be what I didn't have, as opposed to saying, this is what I'm supposed to be, let me be that. So when you're unhealed and from an unhealed place, your drive becomes different. Why you're doing what you're doing becomes different, which is why we need to be healed before we have children, before we step into leadership roles, before we get families and married and all the rest of that. Otherwise, your unhealed places will begin to drive you.
I love what you said, because first of all, it's real. It's real when you talk about guys that step into that role of father and husband, and oftentimes it happens almost at the same time.
Yep.
It's like you go from being single to now you're a father and a husband, and you may have come up in a situation where you did not have that model. You didn't have that example to model yourself after, and so they get into these roles and they feel overwhelmed and really, and that kind of leads me to the next thing. How then do you minister in your church or just in general to those men who feel overwhelmed? Because and I believe that these brothers, that they want to lead, right? But they're like, man, I don't even know where to start. Like, how do you minister to those guys? Like, what do you tell them?
Number one, I'm a proponent. I'm one that teach identity, period. Right? If anybody knows, anybody part of my church has ever heard me preach, I teach who I am in the kingdom. And I think a lot of our identity is misplaced and displaced because we haven't been taught, number one, who we actually are. Right? But on the flip side of that, trying to encourage men or people in the congregation, I make sure that I teach them not to focus on perfection, but to focus more on consistency. Because even feeling overwhelmed, we'll say, I can't do this no more. And we'll miss the consistency of what we should be striving toward, or what we should be. You and I kind of just had this conversation.
Yeah.
Before we started the podcast, right?
We just had this conversation.
So all of what I said to you in private goes along with this answer too,
sir.
Right? So really, and when it comes to men, I think a lot of times we feel overwhelmed because we haven't accepted that village of brotherhood yet.
Yes.
And when we don't accept the village of brotherhood, we then don't have the camaraderie. We don't have the relationships. We don't have the support that we need. Yeah, we may get the support from wives and sisters and mamas and all. No, but I need somebody like me to support me.
I need you to expound on that a little bit more, because we had this conversation in Sunday school, and we were talking about how the devil uses isolation.
Yeah.
And
especially for us as men.
Yeah, especially. And see, I don't think people really understand how isolated a man can become.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't even realize how isolated he is.
Yeah.
Hit on why that brotherhood or that camaraderie, that fellowship is important, because I think we miss that sometimes, because we do feel that we can, because actually we've been conditioned to say, no, you need to be able to bear the brunt of this by yourself because you're the stronger vessel. But a lot of times we do need that help. Hit on why that's important.
Number one, well, I'm not going to put them in order, but I do think one of the reasons is that men don't have the relatability with other men. Someone that can say, I understand. Yeah, we may have wives, we may have females, women, sister, mothers that can, but they can't really fully understand what it is I'm going through as a man, right? Which is why, here it is, which is why mentorship is so important.
Yes.
We need someone that's been there already, that can say, they can undergird us and they can put us under their arms and wings and say, hey, this is how I got through this. Because listen, if there's nothing new under the sun, most likely it's somebody in my circle of brothers that done been through this, going through it, or is going to go through it. Absolutely. This is what I always say, sidebar. You always need someone you can look up to. You always need peers, and you always need someone that looks up to you. You need those three categories in your life, period. Right? So if we go with that model, we will always have someone that's been where we're trying to go. that's been through what we're trying to get through, that has already handled what we're trying to face, right? And if we have that support as men, which many times we don't,
right,
which is why, well, I'm gonna get to that later. Remind me to tell you about what I'm starting in the next couple months for men.
okay,
Which is why different programs, different activities, different functions are needed. But you know what we'll say? Men ain't gonna come to that. Men want to stay by themselves.
We automatically
say that. But listen, I've been so impressed these last couple months, so much so even the women of my church said, Pastor, the men need to have an outlet. Literally, they pulled me to the side out in the street and said, men need an outlet. And it was something God had already started talking to me about last year, actually the past couple of years. And I just been kind of ignoring him. I'm just going to be honest, because I understand how men are. I understand that we can have a need, see a need, we can see an answer, and we'll say, I figured out on my own.
Yep.
And that's that part of isolation you were just talking about. We will isolate, we'll stop talking, we'll stop opening up. Not that we do it, regularly and all the time, which we need to learn how to do that. We'll stop talking, we'll stop opening up, we'll stop showing up. We'll stop showing up. Because nobody understand me. Nobody get it. And I'm tired of women trying to give me advice to something they don't understand. They ain't never been through this. They ain't been through the pressures of being black, being a man, being out in society and all the rest. They ain't been through none of that. So they don't know what they're talking about. It's easy for them. They getting taken care of, right?
Yes.
But when we're the ones that's doing the taking care of, when we're the ones that stepping into roles that we don't have models for, let's be honest. Most women have mothers or grandmothers or aunts, right? That have kind of trained them, taught them. I don't care if it's cook. I don't care if it's clean. I don't care if it's how to be a woman. I don't care if it's how to dress. I don't care if it's how to think. That has been the norm for women, but it's not been the norm for men. Why? No. I'm part of Generation X. Even though my father is still living, I know him, my parents still married, I love him, we got a great relationship. But most of the men in my generation didn't have a father. They were either in jail, selling drugs, or they died, right? Or they're dead. Yeah. So they didn't have the model. Their uncles were on drugs, things of that sort, of alcoholics and all the rest of that. So we really didn't have the models. And I think mentorship, giving men a space and a place a safe place and space to come, to be and to become. I think that's definitely needed.
It is so funny that I'm telling you, Pastor Rob, that because we have our we're celebrating. June is going to be our men's month. We're going to celebrate men the whole month.
Awesome.
And one of the things that we talked about was how we need to create a space for men because we don't have it. No. For those of us that don't have hair, it used to be, when we had it used to be the barbershop, right?
Right.
The barbershop was the place that you could go and you felt it. It's crazy to me that I felt more comfortable to talk at a barbershop than I do at church. Something is wrong there.
Absolutely. And what made it so bad, if I can just add this,
One
reason I stopped going to the barbershop, watch this, is because I didn't want to talk anymore.
Wow.
I want you to hear me. I want you to hear this. Every time I would go, the pastor is here. So not everybody's looking for answers. Watch this. And I got tired of going in there now, and I'm not joking. God is my witness. I got tired of being the mentor to all these men. And here it is, without really looking past what was happening to see what was needed. So I shaved all my head off. I said, you know what? I can do this at home. But then I got to reflect on that, and I have to realize that they felt they had an outlet when I came, and I came once a week. Oh, I was faithful. Between Friday and Saturday, primarily on Saturday morning, they had me there every Saturday morning asking questions. What do I do? Relationship questions, marriage questions, girlfriend, all that, children questions. I had it all. But here it is. I ran away from the space that I believe God put me in to be an answer to many. How often do we do that, Brother Mike?
All the time.
We do it all the time.
We do it all the time. And you know what? It was told to me, because I'm at a point in my life now where, like the kids throw the word unk around like it's supposed to be like an insult. Oh, you an unk, you unk age. Listen, I say this everywhere I go. I wear the title uncle like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Because when a young man feels comfortable enough to call me uncle, I look at that. I almost say, okay, well, if you look at me that way, then all right, fine, nephew. Now I'm gonna treat you like my nephew, and because you can ask any of my nephews, I'm gonna check you when you do something. I'm gonna celebrate you when you do well. I'm gonna check you when you do wrong, and I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna support you and do everything. Here's the thing: what was told to me is that you don't choose the mentees. The mentees choose the mentors. So you're not the one to choose who you're supposed to mentor. They choose you because it's something that they see in you that say, oh, I want the wisdom that this guy had, or I want to know the experiences that this guy had. It's something about him that I see in him that makes me want to be under his tutelage. So we have to be careful not to run from that.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. A lot of times the stuff that those people see in us, we don't see in ourselves.
Yeah. That is
and it
so
scares us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I encourage you, grow your hair back. If I'm
not mistaken. No, listen. I became so free when I started shaving my head. And it happened during COVID, right? So we was at home because I said if it don't look right, it's gonna grow back. And I just go back to the barbershop, even though I know how to cut my own hair. But I got lazy, and for several years I just went back to the barbershop. But I think, and I want to look it up really quick, because if I'm not mistaken, and I want you to hear me when I say this. And I could be wrong, somebody correct me. When Elisha first asked Elijah, right? I'm using this word because we mentor him. Didn't Elijah initially tell him, no, go?
He said no. Like, no, I'm good.
That's what I thought. Yeah. And then he said, all right, well, since you're persistent, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Stay with me. If you stay with me, you'll receive my mantle.
Yeah.
And this is what happens, I think, when students show up, although the teacher is ready, although the teacher have the answers, the teacher is still saying, well, you know what? I think it could be. I think it's the commitment.
That very well could be what it is.
I think part of it could be the commitment.
Yeah.
To have it. Because watch this. When you mentor-mentee is a form of covenant.
Yes.
And whenever there's a covenant, there's going to be exposure. I want you to hear me. Wherever a covenant resides, exposure also resides. Right? Which means that mentee is going to see, as a mentor, that mentee is going to see when you're frustrated, when you're angry, your little issues, your little quirks, your little, and you went all that little stuff about you.
All that stuff.
Am I ready for somebody to see that? Am I ready to be responsible to have to become something else so I can help this mentee become something else? Damn. So what do we got to do? We got to watch ourselves. We have to change. We got to be responsible for what we say, how we say. And I think sometimes we just don't want the responsibility of, although we know it's needed, although we know we should be doing it, but the responsibility of having to do it, I think part of it is having the responsibility to do it, I believe.
I think part of it, and then I think it's also that pressure that you may not live up to the expectation.
Yeah, because then that brings up the insecurities within us.
Yes.
Right? Absolutely. Am I good enough? Can I really help you? Then we'll start referring them to somebody else.
Quickly.
Hey, quick, fast,
have you met brother so-and-so and such and such? He has 3 businesses. It's like we pass them off. But that mentee mentor relationship, man, is deep, and just being available being honest, being being reachable, and being open, being vulnerable, because that vulnerability, and I want to talk to you about that a little bit too.
Yes.
That plays a part of it, and
Yeah.
just that whole dynamic, and yeah, man, it's scary sometimes.
And
if
it
I'm gonna
can
be
be.
honest,
It definitely can be
scary sometimes.
I'm not sure who K662 is, but that person says sometimes they are afraid the student may surpass them.
Yeah,
And
I saw that. And yeah,
in some situations that could be the case. But can I tell you something? With a mentor or mentee, you kind of want your mentee to surpass you.
Absolutely.
Because what you've done was deliver a seed, sow a seed, and that seed grows. Guess what? That seed. Hey, these my members. Lord Jesus, I see you, Prophet Tammy. I see you, Sister Sue. I didn't know who Cat 662. I thought it was some Spanish person.
Cat?
Cat 662? Cat says ghost. Okay, I know it's you now, Sister Sue.
Oh, Lord.
So to some degree, you do want them to surpass you. But if you have insecurities, if you have that rejection and abandonment mentality and all the rest of that, then you're going to have an issue with a mentee or someone surpassing you that you've poured into. I want to see who I pour into. You know why? That's a pastor's heart. That's just like me saying, I'm going to teach you everything I know, but you can't go no further than me. I mean, and let's grant it, as a shepherd and a sheep, that's a different kind of, if the sheep now surpassing the shepherd in knowledge and wisdom and power and authority and all the rest of that, then you under the wrong shepherd. That's a different thing. But when it comes to that, when you pouring, you want them to take that pour, multiply it to those that they touch and that they reach. And that's how they will surpass you in some instances. But if you got insecurities and all that, I would suggest, no, you don't need no mentee right now. I would suggest you don't need to be pouring nothing right now, because everything's going to be about you. And that's called pride. So
then let's talk legacy then.
Yes.
Because some of us didn't grow up with that mentor-mentee,
I know I didn't. Yeah.
Some of us didn't grow up with the example of spiritual leadership. How do you, as a pastor, help men who are new to the faith or who has never seen or had a godly father or a godly father figure, seen a godly father figure in action? How do you help them to step up with confidence in their walk?
Listen, Step Up 101. Here it is right here. You ready for it? When it comes to spiritual leadership, it really starts with teaching people that leadership is really not about the role. Leadership is a heart's posture. Mm-hmm. It's about humility. It's about being willing to grow. It's about being vulnerable. As men, we have not been taught to be vulnerable. No. I had to learn that, and I'm still learning. At my age of 22, I am still, yes, I said 22. The devil is a lie. If you heard anything else, don't let him talk to you. I am still learning vulnerability. I am still learning humility. I am still learning how to grow in spaces and places that I have not given access to. Right? That I now have to, because we'll put stuff on the back burner. We'll never bring it up again. We'll never talk about it again. We ain't gonna grow in that area. We just gonna leave it dormant, as if dormant means it ain't there no more.
As if silence means peace. Come on.
No, it is still there.
It is still there.
And I like to teach too, because I say this even for me. I don't have all the answers. That goes back to the first question you asked me. That's too much pressure. Even to this day, as a pastor, if I don't have the answer, I am okay with saying I don't have the answer.
I don't know.
And if I don't know, guess what? Now it's causing me to dig. Now it's causing me to seek the face of God, which goes back to humility. It goes back to being humble, not prideful, being humble enough to say, I don't have the answers, but guess what? I'm going to get that answer for you. I'm going to seek the face of God. I'm going to read my word. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to study. I'm going to whatever I need to do to get the answer. And, but it really comes from a place of having a humble heart, being willing to grow, being open to grow, being vulnerable, and just being in a place where you can say, I don't have all the answers.
Mm.
Yeah.
So then what about the church itself then? Like how can we as the church, as the people of God, how can we do a better job supporting those men? Like especially the ones who are struggling silently, right? And feel like they not measuring up. What can we do to better support them?
I think really having people in place that can really relate, which is why church should not be filled with women. Let me just say this. When I grew up, it was probably 98% women, 2% men in the church. And I was only a member of one church.
Wow.
Maybe 95. I'll take that back. Maybe 95% women, 5% men. You know what my endeavor is now as a pastor? To have just as much, if not equal, just as much men in the church as women. I'm right now on a campaign for men. God has laid on my heart. I've been praying, bring the men in. He said, all right, I can bring them in, but what are you doing to bring them in?
Listen, come on.
So what do? We first need to make men feel comfortable in a place they was once the leadership over. I want you to hear what I'm saying. If we look in biblical times, women, to some degree, right? I mean, we know the Deborahs and the Ruths and all the rest of those, but to some degree, women didn't have as much place in the church, the tabernacle, the body of Christ, as they do now. It was predominantly men that was in leadership, and somehow that switched. Now, thousands of years later, that switch. And now it's and then I hear people say this, well, the church is a bride and the church is considered a female. And that's why the men in the church are effeminate. And that's why. And I'm like, what the heck? Oh, I'm sorry. What are you talking about? Like, where is this ideology? Watch this. But that's what we've trained and told ourselves, men.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't fit in there anymore. It's just a woman thing. Let's just let them go and do it. Let them have it. Watch this. But where there is an imbalance, there can never be the full functionality of the original intent or purpose of a thing if there is an imbalance. Men are needed in the church just as much as women are needed. So we have to create the space for men, right?
Got to create the space. Absolutely.
We can't have a whole female leadership team and I'm coming in as a man and I don't see myself represented on the leadership team.
Can we talk about that? Because ladies, listen, this is nothing against you.
Absolutely.
And I don't want y'all to get in y'all feelings because this is not a knock against the women of the church.
Yeah.
We need the women in the church, right?
I just said this on this past Sunday. We can't do it without y'all.
We can't do it without y'all. Yeah. But as a man, if I go up in the spot and I don't see me reflected somewhere, I don't want to be there.
Absolutely.
I just don't. And that's why we have such a disconnect with a lot of our young people because they don't see themselves in the church.
Absolutely.
Where's the like when you go anywhere, we talk about representation everywhere else we go,
don't we?
Except church.
Where my black brothers at? Where my brothers at? We look for representation.
We want representation. And why is it looked upon so negatively when a man says, I want to see me when I go to church?
I want to see me. It's just like a black African-American going to a predominantly Caucasian church. Absolutely. And the first thing and sometimes it's subconsciously, it's not that I'm going in to see if I can find me. You start looking around.
You start looking around like, man, ain't too many of us in here.
I was sitting up in first class on my United flight coming from New York a couple of weeks ago. You know what was the first thing I looked around? I said, I'm the only black up here. Here it is. Then I looked around again and said,
it was
not only the only black. Listen, stop it. Stop. Then I said, I'm the only black man up here. What am I trying to say? Subconsciously, we already look for representation.
Already.
And where there is no representation, there is no fitting or footing that we're going to be able to find when we can't find ourselves there first.
Absolutely.
We can go in a wax museum. If you see the first 5, 10 wax museum, I'm just giving an example of other persuasions, the first thing you're going to say,
What are black figures at?
Where's Oprah?
Right.
Where's Michael Jordan? We're going to start looking for representation.
Somebody going to be like, there's The Rock. Stop playing. I need some.
He's Hawaiian.
He's Hawaiian.
But we look for us.
Absolutely.
And for us to feel like we're fitting in, we need to see us.
Yeah.
And we need to see healthy versions of us. Yes. I have this young lady that comes to our church right now that has such a bad experience in church, right? With her past leader, and I'm not going to say who it is, and I'm not going to go into detail, but she had such a bad experience for years. She says she'll never come to church ever again.
Wow.
One of my members invited her to church. A few weeks ago, she's been coming ever since. You know why? Number one, not only does she see herself represented, but she see a different representation of what her experience has been.
Come on.
So what's my endeavor? My endeavor is to show church so unusual, right? I am trying my best to be a leader that ain't trying to get in every woman's pants, but the woman that I'm married to, I'm not trying to take your money. I'm not in it for money because we ain't doing it for money because ain't no money. We just trying to get y'all to sow your tithes and offerings so we can pay bills.
We just want to keep the lights on. That's all we trying to do.
But why am I saying that? It is really being a representation of something that I didn't see.
Yes.
Or that's not been visible. And so having said that, I want to be a relatable man. So when more men come in, they can, I'm now putting together, and I know I'm kind of all over the place, but these thoughts are coming to me. So I'm putting together right now a men's gathering. And it's the first one that we're going to do in June or July. I'm still trying to figure it out. I put together a team. I have 2 other people on this team. I'm looking for one more person though, but I put together a team. We had our first meeting. What's today? Friday. We had our first meeting on Wednesday, right? And I have a young man on the team and then somebody older than me on the team, right?
See?
The young man told me, and I think he's in his 20s, I believe. He said, out of all my friends, the only thing we're looking for is us. That's what he said to me.
That's it.
He said they are looking for a place, an honest place, a transparent place, an open place, but they need somewhere that we can go, our age, and we won't be judged. Come on, because there's a lot of judgment that's happening that would allow men. Watch this. We're being judged at home and we're being judged at the church. Why pastor doing it that way? He know he shouldn't have done it. And at home, you know, you ain't doing it the way, and you ought to be. So we getting judged at work. We getting judged by judges. We getting judged by the system.
Absolutely.
And I don't think women or people really understand the judgment that comes against us already, because in our nature, and your pastor, I've never heard his teaching on this, but I can guarantee this is probably someone is teaching. As African Americans, we already innately in our DNA have struggle in our DNA.
Yes.
Already, innately, from slavery up until now, it is already in our DNA. Your pastor, I know he got a whole book, and I know he teaches about the black church, the black man, the black culture, all the rest of that. I've never heard it, but I know he's good at it.
But no, you're right. There is something that is inherently broken within us.
Absolutely. And not only that, not only are we black, but we're black men.
Yes.
So we were put down innately in our DNA, in our bloodstream.
Yep.
Runs. This is why. What did I just read something. Was it blood pressure? That because we've had so much trauma as African Americans in our bloodline, one reason why we have so much problem with our pressure in our blood is because our oh Lord, give it to me. Hold on. Our pores, blood cells, whatever it is, are already in distress from just being black. from just being black. So we're dealing with the pressure of the contraction of our blood cells and pores from that, which is why we can die from high blood pressure so easily.
Yes.
Because the trauma of that is already in our blood, in our DNA, in our cells. I'm saying that to say this. If we're already dealing with that, can you imagine what else comes along with being a man in today's society? Let's get rid of society. In today's family.
Yes.
Because there's been a switch. There's been something that's been switched that we're not needed anymore. I want you to hear what I'm saying.
Come on, talk about this one.
That we can do it without y'all. But that was never God's original purpose and intent of family.
No.
And when we go away from, I said this about 15 minutes ago, when we go away from the original purpose and intent of a thing that God created, it will not function properly. Yeah. So we have to find a way that we can live together, respect, honor one another, because we're different species. We're not going to do it like women. Women not going to do it like us.
Right.
So when we can't find ourselves, now let me go back to what we were talking about before. We can't find ourselves, we retreat. We'd rather stay at home and watch a game. Mm-hmm. We'd rather go to a Applebee's or a sports bar and hang out with the fellas. For those that drink beer, whatever, right. Eat some finger food and appetizers to say, I fit in here, but I don't fit in there where I initially came from.
And that, which is why we have to do a better job of supporting.
Absolutely.
Because anytime I feel that whenever I walk across this threshold to come inside of this tabernacle and I feel like I'm always on guard, that's a problem.
Absolutely.
When I feel like I'm always being looked at, I'm always being judged, I'm always being held to some standard that somebody came up with, and I never feel like I'm living. Something has to change with that, Pastor. We gotta.
It definitely has to change, and I think women understanding us just as well as we need to understand them will help bridge that infraction. Let me tell you this, because even at my church, and I'm the pastor of the church, I have to watch how I say hi. I don't want that to get misunderstood. Yeah. I have to watch how in my brain, I'm going through so many thoughts. I'm going through don't walk past them like that. Don't say that, because that could be taken this way. Don't do it like that, because that and why? Because I feel many times we are so misjudged. We're so misunderstood. And I'm not saying the woe is me. I want everybody to hear me. Right. But we're talking about men. We're talking about fatherhood. We're talking about being a husband. We're talking about that part of us being in the church. So that's why we're having this conversation. It's not to bash the women, because we love y'all. Listen, I have no problem with women. I don't see them as subservient to me or anything like that. They're equal to me. Come on, made from real. I ain't got to go into all that. You know me. If you misunderstand me, then so what? You ain't got to follow me nothing. We're okay. But I find myself overthinking, right? Did I hug her over the shoulder? Did I touch, all that? Why? Because we have been so understood, been misconstrued, and but on the flip side of that, so much has happened to women and children in the church.
Yes.
That I can't blame them for even being like that.
Absolutely.
They have been mistreated by men in a church. They have been, done wrong by men in the church and things of that sort. So just the same way we give grace to them, they also have to allow that grace to us as well.
Absolutely.
So really, it's coming together and building that bridge. So we can really be one in the church and not male and female. We can really be one. Yeah, because
I don't know what happened and when it all happened, but yeah, when I look around now, that's all you hear, pastors. We don't need y'all, and we can do this on our own. And it's just like, where did all of this come from? Like,
so much so there's podcasts, there are posts.
This is what I'm saying.
This is conversation that we don't think we can do it ourselves. And And then you say we're no good because you're doing, but you chose to. You chose to. And then
You purposely said, I don't need you. And
Yeah.
then when he be like, all right.
And
now you mad.
Wherever we feel like we're not needed,
Guess
what?
Gonna be there.
We ain't gonna be there.
We ain't gonna be there.
And church was one of those places.
Yeah.
That for many, many years, even to today, we feel like we're not needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so so we definitely got to do a better job of supporting. So look, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think some.
Hold on. Do I need a beat button? I think I need
no.
You done said 2-3 times. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm almost scared.
I'm not gonna go ahead and say it, but no, because here's the thing. I think some brothers are because the church kind of ingrained in us that you almost like it made you feel like you had to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like and they put this pressure on you, and I'm not, and they put this pressure on you as a man that you have to be perfect. You have to lead your family. You have to do this. You have to do that. If the family fails, it's your fault. If your house falls, it's your fault. And I think a lot of brothers are scared of not doing it perfectly. What would you say to that man who is afraid to lead, to spiritually lead or be the spiritual leader because he thinks he needs all of the answers, because he thinks he need it all together?
This is what one main thing I would say. God never looked for us to do anything perfectly. He looks for us to do it purely. I'm going to say that again. He never looks for us to do it in the perfect way. He looks for us to do it in the pure way. What do I mean by that? Because if we feel like we need to and have to do everything perfect, watch this, because sometime in homes, it may be wives or mothers or sisters may not give us the grace that's needed when a mistake is made. So if we grew up in a house with that, now we're coming to a relationship with, well, I got to do it right. And the pressure of that is just so, oh my God, it's just overwhelming, right? This is what I would say. Start with the small things. What can you do? Step one. It may seem like it's small, but consistency in a small start will give you a grand result. All right. So start with the small things. How can I lead in my home with the small things? Well, let's do it like this. Can I start praying in the home? And I ain't got to hoop and holler. And Father God, the Bible said, just Lord, I'm here. I don't know what to do. Right. I got kids. I got a wife. I got children. I got whatever it is. I'm responsible for this. I need your help. Consistency in prayer. Consistency in modeling spirituality in the home. What does that look like? What does it look like? And I know this may sound a little churchy and far-fetched, but can I tell you something? Jesus was the perfect model. Jesus taught us how to deal with brothers. That means siblings. We got how he dealt with his siblings. Jesus taught us how to deal with his mother, right? Yeah. He taught us how to deal relationally. Jesus, to me, is the perfect model of manhood. Jesus' model, Holy Spirit assistance. You can't go wrong as a man. Start with the small things, prayer. Start with, hey, today we gonna fast, no food or whatever for 3 hours, 2 hours. You know, we ain't got to go 40 days and 40 nights without stopping. Glory, hallelujah. We ain't got to do all that, y'all. We just start with the small things and build yourself in that. And that's with anything. When you're starting a business, you know, start small. Start with what you can do, what you can handle, what your capacity is right now. I believe, though, men, we are sleeping on our capacity. I believe that we are sleeping on what we're capable of doing because we've been told for so long what we ain't been doing. Yeah. So when we're sleeping on how we've been stretched already and our capacity and what we're able to do and capable of doing, we'll stop minimizing ourselves. Watch this. And then we'll show up somewhere even when we feel like we don't fit in yet.
Yep.
Because now we'll become the model. I need you to hear what I'm saying. We'll become the model for others to come behind us and say, oh, now I see what I'm supposed to be. Instead of looking for what we didn't have, let's become what we didn't have so that we can pave the way for the others to come after us.
Man, I love it. I love it. I think people down, and I say people, but me myself, I had a bad habit of downplaying small victories.
Yeah.
And you don't know how important it is to celebrate the little things, because we always looking for that big thing, and you don't see the little victories that you won.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're waiting for the big thing to make a monumental impact.
Yes.
When the small things are doing that and even greater.
And even greater. And it's just like and I've learned to become more appreciative of the smaller victories. You know, the big victories, they're great, but man, we're not going to look back and say, man, I did this. I was able to do this. I set out to do this. I did. When you start tallying up those accomplishments.
One thing I had to learn, and I learned this through therapy, literally this year through therapy, just a couple months ago. My therapist began to say, I don't sit in moments enough. I don't care if it's a moment of greatness or a moment of, whatever it is, or if it's a bad moment or whatever it is. I'm saying that to say this. I don't think we sit in our victories enough.
No, I don't think
this is what I told the church even on Sunday. Jesus rose, right? And give us power and all. I'm about to live out loud. So every little victory, I'm about to celebrate every little victory. I don't care if it's just getting my website done. I'm celebrating it. I don't care if it's just getting my LLC, the paper in my hand. I'm celebrating it. You know why? Because it's those little things that allows us to keep going. While we're still waiting on the huge thing, God is saying, but look at all of what you accomplished up until now. Right, and you haven't even celebrated that.
Right. It almost makes you seem ungrateful to an extent.
It does. It absolutely does.
It's like, so wait a minute. Now I done led you through all these other victories.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you don't even care because you're waiting for this thing. Now, you know what? Maybe I'll delay this a little bit longer until you learn how to appreciate what I've already done.
Because appreciation, again, is a posture of the heart.
It's a posture of the heart.
God looks at our posture. And whatever our posture is or is not, that will determine the next thing that we have to go through.
Mm-hmm. You're right. So look, I want to hit on this real quick.
This time goes fast. Jesus.
Yeah, man, it flies fast. Oh my God. So we hit on it a little bit earlier today, but I don't think the church talks about it enough.
Yeah.
And actually, I have another.
There are many things the church don't talk about enough.
We ain't gonna even get into that.
Which is why we need these small groups and things to have these conversations.
Yes, absolutely. I have another guest pastor that I'm going to speak with, and we're going to be talking about this very same thing. But I want you to hit on it a little bit because you mentioned it, and it's in regards to masculinity and vulnerability. Society tells us as men that we have to be strong. We have to be. We have to be stoic and we have to be unshakable, right? But when you talk about spiritual leadership requires for you to have a soft heart. Even when you talk about just giving your life over to the Lord, it requires a certain degree of vulnerability. How do you, as a pastor, help men to kind of navigate that tension between masculinity and vulnerability?
Well, here it kind of is right here. It goes back to, for me, it goes back to identity. I think if we know identity and model, I think if we know who we really are, as opposed to the labels that have been put on us, because we operate off labels.
Yes, sir, we do.
Strength, strong, stoic, like you say, masculine, can't show emotion. We operate off those labels. And if we keep operating off those labels, it gives us false identity. Jesus, I want y'all to hear what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to be over spiritual. I'm not trying to spiritualize it. But Jesus was the perfect model. Jesus in his humanity showed us, and he was able to identify.
Come on.
Look, I'm weak in this. Now, listen, I don't want to do this. This hard. This whatever. No, like, oh my God, God, where are you?
Right.
We find ourselves as men asking God, look, where are you? I've been looking for you, been asking about you, ain't heard from you, ain't seen you. Why you not showing up? Ain't
really,
seen you.
what's like?
Why you ain't showing up? And I think when we really understand the model that Jesus was, he not only was in tune with his emotions. Listen, Jesus even cried over his friend Lazarus. Why we think we can't cry? Why we think we can't have a vulnerable moment or show emotion?
Come on.
When I say Jesus is our model, not Elijah, not Moses, no. Jesus is the perfect model in his humanity of what we should represent, not only in the kingdom, but in the world, right? In our families. He showed us how to be vulnerable. He showed us how to tap into an emotion and it not be a moment of weakness, but a moment of strength. I think we need to change how we teach vulnerability. Mm-hmm. Vulnerability is not a moment of weakness.
It's not weakness.
It's really stepping into a moment of strength to uncover myself, to show you what's happening with me and to me on the inside. That takes strength, not weakness.
Absolutely.
And if we change our perspective on what vulnerability really is, but look, what did our uncles, fathers, and all of them tell us if they were around? Man, stop, man up. And they start hitting us and punching us.
Shake it off, shake it off.
Shake it off. Go back there.
Put some dirt on it. Like, I'm bleeding.
Here it is. You acting like your sisters. So now my emotions is connected to a woman.
Yes.
And I know good as well ain't no woman, although this has not ever been said to me ever in my life by uncles, father, nobody, grandfather, nobody. But I have heard this happen. I have seen it happen in other families with other people. You know, shake it off, man. Oh, you going back there and crying. You like acting like your little sister. You acting like some little girl. Listen, me crying is acting like a little girl.
I've heard people say, go in there in the kitchen with the women folk.
With the women. And we wondering why we can't. Women are having a hard time to get us to emote our, get to that place of who we are. Yeah. So I think we need to change the perspective that really vulnerability, emotion is really strength. And when we really teach men that you are strong when you're able to do X, Y, and Z, it changes the narrative that we're weak when we show that or do that. I think we need to start teaching that even more. But how do we teach that? Men, small groups, having these having these gatherings. And did you hear me when I said little? I had to change. I had to change that. But I had to change that though, because nothing that we're doing for the kingdom, especially for the men of the kingdom, is little. I don't care if it started out with 2, 5, 50, or 5,000. Come on, don't despise. Come on. Small beginnings.
Small beginnings. You can.
So ain't nothing. I even told my church this. Y'all stop calling y'all businesses
little businesses.
Come on.
Look, Pastor, I'm
small black businesses. No, ain't nothing small about your business.
I had to stop that because listen, just as sure as we sitting here today, every time I would talk about the podcast, I would say my little podcast.
Yep.
I said it all the time. And something in me was like, why do you keep downplaying what you do like that? Now, do we have a large following? No. But I know some people who started podcasts and they ain't doing it no more.
Yeah. But this is why things like this is needed for us men.
Yes.
It gives us space to be and become. I'm driving that home for a reason because I'm going to go to that. It gives us a space to be and become. It gives us, y'all are living up to the name. Man up, real talk. Ain't nothing fake about here. Ain't nothing phony about this. Ain't nothing faggish about this.
Nope.
Let me say it again.
Say it.
Ain't nothing fake about this. Ain't nothing phony about this. And ain't nothing faggish about this.
Come on.
These are real men. Real men. I ain't talking about this undercover and on the DL because we know that happens a lot. I don't even, and look, we can talk about that for the next hour.
Lord.
These ain't DL men that they having on here that are trying to cover up who they really are and trying to show. No. These are real men, real issues that are talking through real things.
Yes, sir.
And things like this, platforms like this, gives us the opportunity to hear, how can I get through that? Small groups, men's gatherings, having a whatever it is, but we got to start creating the space. Women do it all the time. You know how many?
Easily.
I've seen so many flyers for my spiritual mother is having one tomorrow in Florida. Lady Hudson is having one tomorrow here in Chicago. You know how many women gatherings and brunches and put on your hats and dress up.
Put your hats on and pretty in pink and we doing this. And it's just like.
They didn't figure out how to be and we still trying to figure out how to become.
Oh, Jesus.
So I want you to hear me. Mike, Phil, Man Up Real Talk podcast is needed. We need books about this stuff. Yes. We need magazines. We need ebooks. We need posts. Yeah, we watch enough videos of how we've been downplayed and how what women think about us. And no. Let's start posting and reposting, being sure about who we are as men.
Absolutely.
Let's start reposting about us stepping into our roles and becoming who we've been made to be and who we were created for and the seed that we are and the seed that we carry. Let's really step into what we were sent in this earth from eternity to do and to accomplish in this earth. Did you not know the earth, your families, the church, your jobs are waiting to hear what comes out of our mouth as men?
Come on.
I don't care how much they say they don't want it. I don't care how much they say they don't need it. We are still needed in this earth. We're still needed. And if you ever stay at the place where I don't know, and I just forget the men, forget the women, and I don't need that. Nope. We are still needed. Listen, if a woman don't need you, another man surely does. And what do I mean by that? I mean,
and they ain't even no homo either. Listen.
I mean, purely still need you. Need to know how to become. Still need you to pour into them. Still need you to show them. Be the example of. You got nephews that need this. You have little cousins, male cousins that need this. Little brothers. Listen, hell, we got grown men that need this. They're still trying to find their way.
That's a lot, Pastor. You'll be amazed at how many adult men are still trying to.
Yeah,
I can't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And guess what? We can start journaling. Can I tell you what I do? Let me tell you how I kind of stay as balanced as I could. Even when I feel like I can't say anything to someone else, I say it to my phone. I want y'all to hear what I'm saying.
Really?
I create a voice recording in my phone. If it's something I'm feeling, an emotion or whatever it is, and I can't get a hold of a friend, a man, or somebody in my family or whatever it is, I put it in my phone because that's a way to release it out of me. I type it out in a note or I verbally put it in a voice recording. And I've been doing this for years. Wow. If you don't want to write it down in a little journal, whatever it is, find a way where you can be one with yourself and you may not have anyone to talk to, listen to, whatever in a moment. Say it to yourself on a voice recording in your phone. We got all these devices and all this stuff. Get it out of you. Release it out of you. Because men, we'll hold it in. And then after some months, we'll just blow off, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And our wives or sisters and like, what's wrong with him? Why you acting crazy?
Wrong? Why you acting all like cuz?
Right.
And it'd be something from months ago that you ain't because you didn't speak on it.
We done held in because we done shut ourselves up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can say women have done it. They've been doing it for years. No, but we shut ourselves up.
It's been on us. It's been on us. And and it's because whether it's because we don't know how to or because we just choose not to, we shut ourselves up. And I think now we're seeing the results of that.
Yeah.
We're seeing the results of it. And it's just like I told my guys a couple of weeks ago, I said, listen, vacation is over with.
Yeah.
You know, it's time for us to get back to the place where the Lord intended us to be.
We've been vacationing on ourselves.
Man.
We've been playing ourselves small.
We've
been playing ourselves short.
Yeah. Listening to what other folks been saying about us, Pastor.
It's time for us to come back to the table and revisit where we left off.
That's it.
Revisit where we left off and show back up the way we should.
Show back up. Listen, you already touched on it pretty much, but I just wanted to if you had any more any more practical or any more resources or routines or habits that's been helpful to you that you think can help other men to stay grounded and to grow as the leaders that the Lord has intended for them to be.
Watch this. Other men. Can I just say that?
Yes, sir.
I used to be one, and I want y'all to hear me. I've tried the whole having relationship with men and other pastors and other leaders and all that, and I got slapped in the face. Now, I'm not talking about naturally.
Right.
You know, it wasn't genuine. It wasn't real. You know, it was a tug of war. It was a who is better, who can do it better, who can do it. And I just got tired of that. So you know what I did? Stayed to myself for many years until the Lord, watch this, until I start revisiting, why was I like this? How did I get like this? And why haven't I opened myself up to relationships with other men? And I had to start realizing, oh, because of this, it's because of that, because of that. The moment I became open, watch this, friendships just start coming.
Yeah.
The moment I would show up on y'all show and we'll laugh and we'll joke and I'll retreat back again. I'll go back in my own little cave because, you know, we're good for going back in our own little caves. That's Absolutely. Why in a lot of houses, what do we have? We have
man caves.
Need it. It's our space. It's our space to be where Absolutely. We're not judged. And most of the time it's just us there or others that are like us, other men that are in a man cave, right? But I would go back in my cave and I would, just retreat. I'll come back out and I'll preach somewhere and do whatever it is. And call me, brother. Yeah. Oh, and they try to call me. I wouldn't answer the phone, or they trying to find me, email me. I wouldn't reply to the email.
So you mean to tell me you was ducking me all this time?
Listen,
you done just told on yourself.
Man, I'm telling you. But then I went to Florida. I went to a conference, our spiritual parents in Florida. And I went to a conference, and at that conference, 3 men, I became open, right? I said, beginning of the year, I'm just going to do it, right? I'm just going to do it because first off, when people start getting to know me, I'm going to get on your nerve. Why is he doing it like that? And why he's so meticulous? And why? So for you not to get to learn me, I ain't got it. Nope. It's a hit and quit it. I'm around you, then I'm gone. You ain't gonna see me again for another couple months. You ain't gonna hear from me again. I'm gonna see you and I'm gone. Why? I didn't want the responsibility of friendship, nor did I want the responsibility of people learning me. Because here it is, being misunderstood. I say one thing, they say I said another thing. I didn't feel like all that. And for years, I just stayed away from relationships. I really did. Outside of course, marriage, I just stayed away from them. When I became open this year, I said, I'm gonna purposely do it. In January, I went to Florida. 3 men said, hey, the Lord told me to come up to you and give you my number to start a brotherhood, a friendship. And I've been talking to them ever since. So it goes back to when you're ready, it shows up. I haven't been ready. Now that I'm ready and open to it, it shows up. But we have to foster relationships. That's the point I'm getting at. We have to foster relationships. If we don't, I mean foster as in taking the time to cultivate them, to water them, not just once every 6 months. Hey, bro, how you doing? All right, good. You and the family good? All right, I'll talk to you later. And that's it. No, taking the time to talk to each other, pour into each other, open up to each other, express to each other, just conversate and talk to it. Men really don't do that unless we're doing it around a bar with some beer. Or something. I don't even like beer, but that's a whole other story. But, unless we're doing it in spaces like that or the barber shop, We don't just say, hey, let's just go to lunch and let's go to dinner and just kind of sit down and chop it up and chill. And, we just kind of pour into each other. And I say, hey, I'm going through this. I need help. You going through whatever. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Let's start doing that. Let's start fostering relationships. Let's start making ourselves available. Mike, because we ain't available all the time.
No, we're not.
And I mean emotionally available, mentally available, spiritually available. I'm not just talking about time. I'm talking about available, period. And we'll say, well, man, and look, the day I get here, we're going to meet up at a restaurant for lunch or something. Man, something that came up. My wife done said something, the kids done, and it's always an excuse. We're back out of a thing fast.
Yeah.
Let's start fostering relationships and start having accountability partners. These women, they can pray together. They can sit down. They can have prayer brunches and lunches and do all this stuff. Lunch. But can I call you and really say, and I believe I can I call you and really say, hey, man, I'm struggling through something right now. And I need some help. I just need somebody to listen to me. I need somebody to talk to. But that goes back to vulnerability.
That vulnerability.
And being open to be what we haven't been for years.
Man. You know what? This conversation really could go on for a whole nother hour, but I don't want to take up, more of your time, man. But I first of all, I want to say, and I know I said it at the top of the hour, but I want to thank you. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your transparency. I appreciate your insight, and I appreciate you for what I believe you have, which is a heart for God's people and for the men, especially. It's hard, and I don't want to try to paint this picture like, oh my God, men just got it so hard. And ladies, I know y'all got y'all things.
Yeah,
too.
they have their own challenges. Yeah,
y'all have your own challenges, but women have there's a lot of advocacy for women.
Absolutely.
And it's not a lot for men.
Yeah. And they've created much village for them too.
And you guys have done a great job of creating a village. And this is where that's where we're trying to ascend to.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to create a village. And I want to say this to every brother listener, whether you doing your thing in this season or whether you crawling your way through it. Know this. You don't have to be perfect to be present, and you don't have to have it all together to lead well.
That's good.
Because God is with you wherever you are, and your presence matters. We need to be present in each other's lives.
Yep.
The leadership matters.
Absolutely.
And however messy you may feel, understand that what you do will shape generations. It's going to create legacy.
Yep.
And we can't be afraid of that. You know what I mean? So
you just said something. Can I throw this in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Legacy is not what you leave for someone, is what you leave in someone. That's legacy.
I love it. I love that. Listen, I want to give you the opportunity to tell the people about what you guys are doing at the Oasis Church. Which, if you have anything coming up, I want to just give you the floor and let you tell the people what you guys are doing at TOC.
So at the Oasis Church Chicago, we're just having service, walking people through deliverance naturally and spiritually. We are a holistic place where you can come with all your trauma, all your pain, all your hurt, all your past. But I promise you won't stay like that. We don't just want you to grow spiritually, but we want you to grow naturally. We want your soul to prosper. Right? It's not by accident that scripture tells us that you prosper, be in good health, even as your soul prosper. Did you not know you can prosper past how healthy and whole your soul is? So in scripture, God couples healthy and wholeness with your soul. What is the soul? The soul is where all our past, our pain, our trauma, it's the seedbed of everything that has taken place in our lives. And God wants us to come to a place of wholeness and completeness in him, right? So God has given me a ministry, a para-ministry that's called RSM Global. And RSM Global's first ministry arm, the first thing we're going to have is a men's gathering. We are still in the inception of creating this space. I just had my first meeting with my team on this past Wednesday. So we're still putting things together. We don't even have a name yet. Let me just throw this out here. If you may have a name, see, here's my marketing strategy here. If you may have a name, I'm looking for a name that speaks to men being and becoming, right? A safe space, an open space where we can learn, where we can grow, where we can share, and where we can be vulnerable, where we can be open with other men. It's for men only. We're still seeking for a name, literally. And we don't have all the pieces together. But in the next couple of months, my website will be done. So when rsmglobal.org is finished, you'll be able to go there and register and all the rest of that. So I'm getting a lot of pieces together of the puzzle. And when it's complete, you'll be hearing from me. But we want to create a space. I kept complaining for years that women got this, and women easily gather together, and women easily got the brunch and the lunches and the dress up and the hats and the heels and jeans, and they come out and they support and all that. And I kept claiming, men need this. And I've been waiting on somebody else to do it for the last several years. And God told me it is now time to do it. I said, well, God, I had to turn around. Who you talking to? He said, I'm talking to that guy right there. It's time for you to start doing it. I didn't want the responsibility of growing other people. But guess what? I'm already doing it as a pastor. But he said this, it's not my responsibility to grow the people. It's my responsibility to create the space. So what are we going to do? We've already talked about clinicians coming in. I actually have a clinician, a mental health clinician on my team. So we're not only going to talk about, this ain't going to be a place where men going to come and we're going to hold hands and pray for an hour. Nope. It ain't even going to be church, y'all. I want y'all to hear me. We ain't having no praise and worship. It's going to be so unchurched. Watch this. But you're going to leave changed. You're going to leave healthy and whole. And it's just the start of something great. So we're going to have a panel, a discussion with people in the finance industry, in the mental health industry, and the regular physical health industry. Because y'all know men, we don't go to no doctors unless we have dead or had a stroke or heart attack, and we got to be rushed there and all that. So it's a space where we can learn about us holistically and be and become who we were designed to be. So be looking out for that information. Be looking out for my website. It is coming, and I hope to see you all there.
Amen. Listen, I want to say this while it's being recorded and you on record. Now, I said that June was our men's celebration.
You did say that,
and we're still getting our itinerary and everything together. And our theme this year is MOP to the third, which is men of power, men of purpose, and men of priority.
I love it.
And our campaign, ironically enough, is make godly men great again.
Come on here. I love that.
Yeah, that's what we're running on. And I want to formally invite you out, and I will let you know what Sunday that I want you to come out on, man, and just to be my guest, man, because everything that you just said is what we are trying to do.
Wow.
At Faith, Hope, and Charity. As a matter of fact, we've even started just having monthly gatherings with the brothers. Like we got one coming up on the 16th. So if you ain't busy, man, I'll send you the deets. You just come on and hang out. And all it is about, Pastor, is just building that brotherhood.
Absolutely.
Building that relationship, that connection, man, because we're missing it. And once we get that connection, you talk about communities being strengthened. You talk about families being reestablished. You talk about power being. Come on, if we can get ourselves together, man, you talk about some things that can change, man. So I'm excited. Listen. If this episode has blessed you in any way, I want you to make sure that you share this with another brother. Don't just share it, and it don't cost you nothing. I ain't asking for no money. All I want you to do is share this with another man that you think will appreciate this conversation. Just tag, and share somebody in this conversation. And if you don't mind, listen, why don't you go into subscribe to our YouTube channel? Leave us a review. Let us know how you appreciate the episode. Let us know if you didn't like the episode. Follow us on social media and all that good stuff. You already know how it is. Pastor Sam's, you already know, man. I appreciate you. I thank you for your time. I thank you for just for hanging out with me on today, man. And let's not make this. Let's not. It's been almost 2 years, man. Now, come on.
I didn't realize it's been that long. I'm actually trying to see if I've subscribed to your page.
Probably not. That's all right.
Wait. Oh yeah. Wait. No, I am. Because when I click it, it say unsubscribe. So I am subscribed.
Okay.
I want to
Good
make
job.
sure.
All right.
Why? Because I am going to go back in inboxes and send this to other men and tag other men in it. Because they need to hear conversation. Not because I was on it. Because they need to hear conversations like this.
Absolutely.
When we can start the conversation, we can start the change.
Yes.
It's time for the change to start. Yeah.
It's time for the change to start, man. So I thank you. I appreciate your time. And as I always tell you, man, you always got a seat at the man up table, man. And whenever you want to come through, man, let me know. And we definitely got you. So look, that's it for us. It is the weekend. Go do something with your peoples. Go check on somebody that you ain't checked on in a while. Call them, text them, see how they doing. Go visit your mama if you ain't seen her in a while. I'm talking to myself. Go and just be with your family. Go be with your family. Do something this weekend. Just celebrate life this weekend. How about that? Yeah. We're just gonna celebrate life this weekend. Love on somebody a little bit. And if the Lord say the same, we're gonna be back here next Friday with another great conversation. So on behalf of my guest, Pastor Robert Sams, and Mr. Philip Hines in his absence, this has been the Man Up Real Talk podcast. And until we talk again, my friend, y'all.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I have a question before you. I like the 2 fingers to the side. I know you was giving your outro.
Yeah. You just messed it all up. It's all right.
I'm sorry. Do y'all have a way to give? Because you never know who's going to see this and may want to give to you all.
You know what? I can always post. We do have like Cash App and Zelle. I can post that. I can post that in the comments if you guys if you want to give and support this podcast. We greatly appreciate it. Cause listen, this stuff costs.
Yeah.
Internet and all these little different programs. You
got about mics, headphones, graphics, all and mics stuff,
and all that stuff.
Monthly subscriptions and all that stuff. Yeah,
listen,
I know. Why you think we don't go live no more? Listen, they would take it. I'm sorry, y'all. $55 here, $40 here, $120 here. And I said, where's all this money coming from? And where's it going? I said, we stopping it all. There ain't no more subscription to nothing monthly. Stop everything. We ain't going live no more.
It is a cost. And it's funny because when I looked, I was like, and it's not a complaint. And please know, because I do it because I love doing it. But there's a cost involved. It is. And so, if we can definitely put that out there. If you ever want to support, man, we will definitely appreciate the support, whoever you are and wherever you are. And I believe that the Lord has sent it. And I believe that because we want this to be that safe place that we were just talking about.
Yeah. Somebody may see this 2 months from now and say, I'm looking for somewhere to sow, and see this and say, this is what I want to sow into. You never know.
You never know. Yeah, so I'll make sure I'll post it. But this is the place, Pastor Stan. You just made me realize that this is that safe place we were talking about. Yeah,
it's needed. It's needed, man.
It's needed. It's definitely needed. So
can I openly say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know we can, in moments, get discouraged, or especially if it comes to comparison or what it look like it's not been effective. Whatever it is, whatever God has put His approval on, and I believe God's approval is on Man Up Real Talk podcast. Whatever God has touched and put His approval on, nothing, not a number, not a person, not anything can take His hand off of it. Y'all keep going. This is needed. Y'all keep going. This is needed, and it is touching someone. You never know who is watching this in private and saying, I'm so glad I just heard such and such say that. I'm so glad Mike is showing me how to be myself. Phil is showing me how I can just be. I ain't got to be so spiritual. I ain't got to be, you never know who you're touching and how you're touching them. This platform is needed. Don't give up. Don't let the enemy talk you out of it. This is needed. We need this.
I appreciate you for that, Pastor. I really do. And I thank you for, look, see my producer. He all right with me.
Come on here.
It took him a minute to
Man Up
look,
RT.
It took him a minute to type it, but he got it up there. He'll be like, "Dad, you ain't paying me." That's all right, son. That's all right.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. But there it is. If you want to donate, if you want to sow a seed into this podcast, Cash App Man Up Real Talk. You can Zelle us and listen. Whatever donations, we appreciate it. We ain't gonna turn it down. I'll tell you that.
I know that's right. Listen,
we is not gonna turn it down.
You never know who wants to sow. You never know who wants to sow, man.
You never know. So, man, I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. I love y'all. And like I say in the beginning, man, every like, every click, every share, every download, whatever it is that you do to support this podcast, man, I appreciate it. Like for real. And I ain't gonna go through my whole intro again, my whole outro, but Pastor Sam just threw me completely off. I'm sorry. Dang, just messed me all the way up. Till we talk again, my friends, y'all get 2 fingers to the side. Make sure you holler at your boys because we are officially out.